Mm, your event sounds so incredible. I think you can count me in. You'll see me turning up in Glasgow, just like hi.
Awesome. Yay.
But yeah, they sound wonderful.
So breathwork works really well online because you can see everybody's faces, you can see chest moving, whereas when you're in a room, you don't always see that because people are spaced out.
Mm,
I think as women, I can just speak for myself and the women that I see, but we lose confidence in ourselves, we lose that belief. So it's about giving them that confidence back, giving them their voice, knowing that they're worth it, having that self-assurance. So it's really like building their confidence up, building their voice, so that they can navigate their journey a lot easier.
that's fantastic. I think you're doing the work of an angel, to be honest. Hi, my name is Megan. So I'm part of the Momo Yoga team. I'm delighted to be here with Claire Davidson. So from Flow Yoga Glasgow. Thank you for being here, Claire. Um, Before we get started, I think it's great to say that this is our first community chat. So yeah, it's an honor to have you. And also, just for a little bit of context, I think it's great for everybody watching to know what community chats are all about. So the intention is really to get to know the people who we work with at Momo Yoga or who are our customers, but also to help teachers, I think, become more successful in their own yoga teaching journey as well. So wherever they are in the world, I think it's important to bring some inspiration and some experience from other teachers. So on that note, Claire, I thought before starting, it would be great if you could introduce yourself a little bit and to hear a little bit about yourself.
Okay, so thank you so much, Megan, for inviting me along. Yeah, so I'm Claire Davidson, and I run classes in Glasgow. Also run teacher trainings as well, pregnancy yoga teacher trainings, and just do lots of different things. And that's the beauty of yoga. I've been teaching since 2009, which is a long, long time,
Wow.
but totally love what I do. I love being able to support the community like you guys are doing here, um, and just being part of the yoga community. Yeah, I teach classes, menopause yoga, more kind of aimed at women. I do teach men, but I teach pregnancy, menopause, so it's mainly women that I see, and just supporting women on their transitional journeys.
Wow, that sounds beautiful. I want to come to one of your classes. I've done some women healing circles myself.
Amazing.
And
Yeah.
it's always been a very profound journey, even if it was just for an hour or two. I think it's incredible what you can build together when women unite.
Absolutely, and we certainly need more of it because
Mm,
during these times, women can feel so isolated.
mm.
So it's good to create that community where people are going through the same things at the same time.
Yeah.
So they feel supported not just by me as a teacher, but supported by the other women in the group as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I would say just from my own mum and also her friends, I know that they went through the perimenopause, also the menopause. I know that from experiencing it or observing it and witnessing it, it's kind of brought some fear, I think, as well, surrounding this subject because
Oh,
it's such an under spoken about subject, I think, or it's just
yeah.
people need to bring it to the forefront because it's a really difficult time. Maybe not for everybody, I don't know, but I know for my mom it was. So I
Yeah.
presume that it's something that you can really you need to share to be able to get through.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I'm suffering just now. I've got a runny eye, which is one of the symptoms of the menopause. So
Oh,
you'll see me
really?
do,
So
doing
it's
this.
not me making you cry.
No, definitely not. So yeah,
That's
it's
good.
just it's just what happens, and I think making normalizing things as opposed to keeping it a secret, and like that, there's so many symptoms from that we don't realize. We all know about the hot flushes and the mental rage, but things like eyes, itchy feet, itchy body. You know, there's just so many anxiety, there's just so many things that come up during perimenopause and menopause. So it's just normalizing it and going, do you know what? It's okay, it's just part of the journey. And I want to empower women as well with information, because if we've got the information, we can do something about it. So yeah, I just want to make it just another phase that we're moving into. In the East, they call it the second spring. So it's that, you know, it's just such a beautiful thing that they're stepping into this new phase of life. And I want to empower women that it's not doom and gloom at the other end. You know, there is a beautiful life just now and waiting for them.
That's lovely. I really like that. And so when you started in 2009, was it always in relation to women, to maybe more of this journey, or not necessarily?
No, so my qualifications in seasonal yoga, which changes, you know, we work with TCM, traditional Chinese medicine. We use meridian lines and the organs. So we've got 6 seasons. So every season, you change, the energy changes within the season. So in the summer, obviously, you've got more energy. You want to do more kind of things like Ashtanga, really out there movements, get hot and sweaty. Whereas we don't have that same energy in the winter. So more yin, more kind of chilled out, restorative type practices. So the practice changes. Here in Scotland, you know, we definitely have winters and, you know, it's a lot colder, and we definitely have the seasons. So it's just changing the practice each season, which helps to manage your own energy, which works really well going into pregnancy and going into menopause as well.
Amazing. I mean, it's a really great day here, sorry, today in the Netherlands. So I think it resonates for sure. The energy is is lower than in the summer, without a doubt. But we have our fake fireplace, so
I love that.
Brilliant. Well, thank you so much for that lovely introduction. Just for context, so we're going to speak about events today. For those watching, events are essentially anything that are a little bit more specific types of teaching. So it could be a workshop, it could be a retreat, it could be a women's circle, like you mentioned earlier. Anything really, I think that is perhaps an exceptional class, not necessarily always, but that you maybe don't do on a frequent basis, and that might require a little bit more time and perhaps more organization as well. So to get the subject rolling a little bit, do you organize events, and which ones do you organize?
Yeah, so I use the events quite a lot. So I do a breathwork and meditation session that's free once a month. So that goes on to the event. It's live on Zoom. So that's one of the things that I put on the event. So that's just a basic free one. I also, my menopause monthlies go on the events as well. I also have a breathwork teacher training, which I put on the event. So anything that's kind of one off, or maybe like a wee 4-week block, then I'll put on the events. And it's so nice because you can see it different from the classes. So, you know, if you were looking at classes and the events in 3 months' time, you'd have to scroll through 3 months worth of classes. Whereas when it's an event, they just press on the event, they look down and there it's there. So it's so much easier to find when you put it as an event.
Fantastic. I'm glad that you're enjoying it. That's really cool to hear. Did you say you're doing a teacher training for breathwork, or did I hear correctly?
Yes.
Wow, that
Yes.
must be incredible.
Yes.
That's really
Yes.
cool. Is it something, I mean, I follow the Wim Hof method a little bit over here. I think he's Dutch. So it's a very highly taught method in yoga studios over here. Is it aligned with that, or is it slightly different techniques? I can presume that maybe you want to also calm some of the energy with the menopause and not bring the fire up as well.
Absolutely, absolutely. So yeah, no, we teach lots of breathing techniques. So there's probably about 20 different breathing techniques that we teach over the space of 4 or 5 months. So anything from you know, alternate nostril breathing, but all the various different variants of the nostril breath. So using one side will help to elevate the energy, using the other side will help to calm the energy. Then alternate balancing the breath. So, looking at each of these breaths, square breath as well. The one that we're doing recently is a heart breath, where you have your hands in front of the chest and you gently squeeze the hands. So just loads of different breathing techniques. Breathing is one of the quickest ways to change how you feel. So 3 minutes of, doing the Wim Hof method, you're ready to go for the rest of the day. But you can't use that if you want to go to sleep. So, doing like a full yogic breath or an alternate nostril breathing will help to calm the nervous system down to help you go to sleep. So it's about teaching different breathing techniques, because you might have an interview to go for, so you might need to be focused and calm. So doing something like a square breath. So it's about thinking about situations that you want to change how you feel, and then having a breath for each of those situations. So
it's really lovely.
Yeah, love the breath. I teach breath in all the classes, all the workshops, everything that I do, because it's just one of the quickest ways we can change how we feel, and it gives us our power back. Rather than leaving it to the mind running away, we can take control.
Definitely.
And I love that.
I mean, I could talk about the breath for forever. I think it was the biggest discovery. Even just, I think, I don't know if I read or saw somewhere that most of today's society kind of breathes between like here and here, because we're just breathing all the time, which essentially is hyperventilating or along those lines. So we're always communicating to our bodies that we're in a unsafe place, which I think is just crazy. Basically, it makes a lot of sense that we have so many mental health issues in today's society, I think, as well. So
absolutely. And we can,
really interesting.
By empowering people to breathe fully and deeply, we can change that and give people their power back, which is amazing.
That's fantastic. And also for you as a career, as a job, that must be so empowering, and you must feel incredible. So well done for also doing teacher training along that line. Now back to events, because I've gone all the way off.
Sorry.
No, that's me. Sorry.
Sorry. You need to roll me back in, because I'll just go off in tangents.
Yeah,
Apologies.
in 5 hours we'll still be sitting here going on. I wanted to ask you what you think the benefits or the advantages are of doing an event over a traditional class. Why would you choose to do, for example, a specific certain, I don't know, circle or something like that as an event rather than a class? Would you say, that's my question, I would say.
So in terms of logistics and setting it up, in terms of Momo, or in terms of just why I would choose one over the other?
I would say for yourself more than anything, why you would choose to host an event rather than a class. Or you can do both.
Yeah. So classes are something, for me anyway, people might be different in the way that they think, but for me it's something that I run week in, week out. And I really only stop them for Christmas or summer holidays, or or I get people in to cover them. So they are a continuous class that runs throughout the year. For me, events are more kind of one-off, more specialised. So it's maybe more of a teaching rather than a general teach. We're actually teaching more specific. There's more information, so they'll get much more takeaway from it. Whereas the classes, they still get information to take away, but it's more specific to one area, and it's much more information that I'm giving out.
Yeah. So would you say that an event for you primarily requires more organization in general than a class because of the frequency of the classes versus an event?
Yeah, absolutely. So for instance, like the classes that I do, I work with the seasons, so they slowly build up over the weeks of the seasons. Generally, there's maybe 8 to 12 weeks in the season, so we're kind of building up, and they're getting the seasonal information the whole way through. Whereas when I set up events, it's more, it's a lot more information. There's a lot more of setting up, because it's more specific to the people that I want. But in saying that, I use the events. I'll have like a 30-minute breathwork and meditation class, which is really about gathering the community together, and me giving something back to them because it's free. It's once a month, so it's about me giving something back
That's nice.
with the free meditation and breath work. But on the other general, it's really more specific. So it's like a menopause where we'll be looking at mental rage and using breathing techniques or restorative postures, or maybe journaling a little bit. So there's much more specifics in the event.
Your event sounds so incredible. I think you can count me in. You'll see me turning up in Glasgow, just like, hi.
Awesome. Yay.
But yeah, they sound wonderful. From an organizational perspective, do you feel that when you try and organize events, there's anything that you struggle with? Anything that you find either to be lacking or just in general that you need more of?
Um, Sometimes I don't just, it can be hard to find venues because um, a lot of them haven't opened back up since COVID. Certainly in Glasgow, there has been a few yoga studios that have closed down. So there's the kind of the same amount of teachers all trying to use the same
Mm,
venue, so it becomes a little bit more challenging to get venues. So you kind of have to start thinking outside the box a little bit.
yeah.
But other than that, I think that's really the only challenge, is finding a venue for the date and the time that you're looking for.
So is yoga that popular in Glasgow? I've never actually done a yoga class there.
Oh yeah, I mean, we've got quite a few yoga studios, and I do them in church halls because the yoga studio that I was using is no longer now, so I'm back to using church halls now, which is great.
Mm,
And yeah, no, we've got a really thriving big yoga community in Glasgow. We've got quite a few different teacher trainings running as well in Glasgow. We've got quite a few studios, and most of the health clubs and things offer yoga as well.
brilliant. Sounds incredible. I think I'll definitely be coming. So that's wonderful. And for a future yoga teacher, for example, people who are doing the yoga teacher trainings currently, who are kind of asking themselves, okay, how am I going to start my teachings? Would you say start off with classes and just make your way up, for example, in the way that you do with the seasons or whichever theme that they choose? Or would you say go for it and try an event and just see how it is? Or is an event like a next level experience type thing, or not necessarily?
Not necessarily. So with our teacher training, we get them to start teaching friends and family from 6 months. So they already have a kind of class by the time that they leave.
Mm,
When they finish, and people still want to come to them because they've been doing your yoga for the last 6 months. So most of them just continue their teaching once they graduate teacher training.
lovely.
But we've also got some students that work full time and just don't have that capacity to keep their 1 week of class on.
Mm,
So for those guys running workshops, they're still keeping themselves in the teaching of the yoga. So they'll teach one seasonal workshop a month, not a month, sorry, a season.
yeah.
So they'll teach 6 within the year. So they're keeping their teaching and their trainings up by doing their own workshop. So I think it's really down to you and what your preference is. Also your schedule as well, because if you're working full time, it's really hard to put classes in at night or at the weekend.
Mm.
Taking one season, just one class or one workshop every season, it makes it a lot easier and you're still able to teach.
Yeah, that is actually a good point. So it could almost be easier as well to host your own events and to not have to try and integrate weekly classes. Or so for a new teacher it could be an interesting experience. And I think as well, maybe I'm wrong, but with events you have more of an eclectic choice as to what you could do, because ultimately if you want to do a tissue throwing event, like you could just do whatever it is that you want. So
Yeah.
you obviously have quite a range between more yoga but also the breath work facilitating. So I think for people who just want to do, for example, meditating or anything like that, they could also just do an event, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. and also now with Zoom, you know, you can be anywhere in the world and have and still teach, which is amazing. You know, that's probably one of the best things that has come out of COVID. You know, most people are now on Zoom. The meditation, breathwork and meditation class, I do it on Zoom, and I've got people from all over Scotland that come along to the event because it's on Zoom, and you know, they don't need to be in a studio, so it totally opens up as well.
Do you feel as a teacher a difference when you teach online versus in person? Do you have a preference?
I think so. Breathwork works really well online because you can see everybody's faces, you can see chest moving, whereas when you're in a room, you don't always see that because people are spaced out. So breath work, I do coaching as well. So I love doing all that because you can see people's reactions a lot better when you're on Zoom. I do love teaching people. I'm a very much people person. I love, you know, chatting and you know, being in the environment of people. I get lots of energy from being in people's environments. So I do love both. But I think I prefer teaching in person. But I love both. I wouldn't say I hated teaching on Zoom. Both of them have got their pros and cons.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. I think the reachability of Zoom is fantastic. Obviously, then you can just teach people at any time zone, anywhere in the world, and it gives you the chance to also perhaps maybe mix the two if you want to do in person and also online. But I do understand as well. I did a yoga teacher training myself. Yet to teach, I need to have the courage to do that, but it will come very soon, I think. I think personally, I have more of an inclination perhaps for meditation and breath work, that sort of thing, than actual yoga itself, which is an interesting mix. So basically, yeah, I did my yoga teacher training myself, and I know that I was thinking perhaps I could do online teaching because it was less daunting as well, I think, as than doing in person. But in the yoga teacher trainings themselves, you learn a lot about adjustments and how to really be present in person. So I'm not sure I would actually know how to do, for example, the adjustments through Zoom. You know, if you're in down dog and then someone else, you're trying to look at them at the same time, I can assume that it has its own difficulties as well.
Oh yeah, absolutely. So I think that's where your cues come in. And since we've had to be on Zoom, my cues have came on leaps and bounds. You have to get really specific, but you also have to have lots of different cues for saying the same thing because everybody's, although they all speak English, their way of hearing things is very different. So you have to have lots of different cues. So I would say that being on Zoom has made me a better teacher in terms of communicating better.
Yeah, that is actually a really good point. I saw something really interesting lately about about cues and just the importance of them. And even in my own yoga teacher training, we had to learn about them. And the way you can say something in just even a tiny bit different could mean that everybody does the opposite to what you're trying to say. So I can imagine if they're not looking at you and they're in down dog on Zoom, then you've got like a triple whammy where you're just trying to make sure that people understand as clearly as possible what you're trying to say.
Yeah,
so
absolutely. And then if you're doing, you know, your classes weekly, people get to know you, they get to know what comes next, so they start to relax a little bit more, and then it just becomes easier to cue because they know what's coming next. So there's less of that, you know, looking at the screen and what's going on, what's she talking about?
Put your leg on your head and then your toe behind your ear. Wait, what?
Absolutely, absolutely.
Fantastic. You mentioned before about the coaching that you do as well. Do you do that as more of an event? Is that more of a one-on-one thing? Are you happy to talk about that?
Yeah, absolutely. So I do one-on-one coaching, and as well as doing group coaching as well. So at the moment, it's very much supporting women going through various stages of the menopause, and just getting what's in here out and talking about it and supporting them through their journey. So
Fantastic.
yeah, just I think as women, I can just speak for myself and the women that I see, but we lose confidence in ourselves. We lose that belief. So it's about giving them that confidence back, giving them their voice, knowing that they're worth it, having that self-assurance. So it's really like building their confidence up, building their voice, so that they can navigate their journey a lot easier.
That's fantastic. I think you're doing the work of an angel, to be honest. I think
Oh,
it's really
thank you.
necessary. I do see more and more conversations opening up about it, which is really positive.
Yeah.
So hopefully, it's something that will just keep going in the better direction. But I do think it's something that even, generations before myself, they had no clue about. And yeah, it's a necessary topic to discuss. So yeah, well done.
Oh,
When it comes to Momo Yoga, just one question regarding the way that you structure your events and the way you use it. I know I mentioned before, is there anything lacking? But for you, realistically, is there any tools that you really need that you don't have? For example, I don't know, more of a range of prices or anything that you'd be able to work with a little bit better?
yeah, I would love, because at the moment you can only put one price in the event. So especially for doing the breathwork course, it works out about 495. So having another option to do like two payments would be amazing over 2 months or whatever it is, but having like a scheduled payment to pay monthly, because it is a bigger price. But the £30 ones, the £40 ones, there's no need. Paying that in full is perfect, but the bigger price workshops that or events that I do, I would love to have another option for another amount in there that could be paid over 2 months or 3 months.
I do believe our team is looking into that, but I'll take note.
Awesome. Awesome.
And I think by the time this airs, there might have already been there will have already been the release, which is going to come, the winter release. So I think I can share with you now. There's going to be some interesting things related to events.
Brilliant.
And more in relation, I would say, to ticket types. So the possibility to essentially have a range of tickets or ticket types. So if you want to, for example, propose a single room as opposed to a yacht or whatever, you'll be
Okay.
able to have that option. Similarly, I think it's quite common to want to have early bird prices when it comes to events, and then standard prices, and then people who come a little bit later on. So all of these things are tools that you'll be able to work with. So hopefully it should help you a little bit as well. So
Brilliant.
yeah.
That's amazing. And that's the one thing that I love about Momo is it's constantly updating. Before 2 or 3 years ago, we never had the video aspect. Whereas now that's on it. You've got the event, so you're constantly listening to what people need. And that's why I love it so much. And it's so easy to use. And from a customer platform as well, it's so easy to get customers in and to use it. So it's a great system. And I tell all the students to go on it as well. So yeah, it's such a good thing.
That's lovely to hear. I think I had a little look before our call, and I think you've been with us since 2017, if I'm not mistaken.
Right, okay.
Yeah, so you're one of our most cherished
Oh,
customers,
thank you.
which is why you're at the first community chat, of course.
Oh, perfect.
No, it is an important aspect. I think it's good to know. So Momo Yoga is still, we're always looking to improve, and our most cherished element, I'd say, is your feedback. So it's hearing what you need. Of course, we would love to be able to implement everything faster and bigger, and we always have positive feedback, and there's always improvements there as well. But we always look to prioritize based on how many people have also, requested something, and to try and ensure that we can give everybody what they need as much as possible. So it's really done with yoga teachers like yourselves in mind. But also, I think it's good for anybody watching who's maybe starting off in teaching. It's a great way as well, I think, just to get a foot in the door and to
Yeah.
try something, even anything, you know, just one class, an online class, anything that makes you feel comfortable, but you're able to have that space to not have to think, how can I take the payments? How can I, you know, follow the reservations and that sort of thing. So, yeah.
Yep. Yep.
Wonderful.
Brilliant.
I think that's pretty much everything. I mean, if you have
Awesome.
any questions for me, then you're more than welcome to fire away. If you don't, then we can just say thank you, and I hope you enjoyed this talk as much as me.
Oh, yeah, no, thank you, thank you, thank you. Get your ass out and start teaching. You're always going to put it off.
I
Just
know,
do it.
I
Put a
know.
date in the diary and just do it.
Okay, I will do it, and I'll let you know when I have, so promise.
Awesome. Awesome. Good,
Thank you so
good.
much, Claire,
No,
and
no,
yeah,
thank you.
have a lovely day.
Okie dokie.